Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nexus where we spotlight some of our favorite local businesses. I'm really excited for you to get to know Rachel Barth today. Thanks so much for coming in, Rachel.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be your friend.
Yeah, she is an awesome friend, and I am fortunate to have gotten to know her over the last few years, but she works for the Lincoln Airport, and there is so much going on out there that I'm really excited for you guys to learn more about them. So
yeah, ask away.
Yeah, well, first of all, give us your title and what you do at the airport, because there's a lot.
It is. So my title has recently changed. I'm now Director of Air Service Development and Strategic Marketing.
Sounds so impressive because you are.
Big picture, I oversee marketing and communications for Lincoln Airport, but then I just added air service development. So think about relationships with airlines, trying to go and recruit a new airline, kind of all those facets. A lot of community outreach with my position, events, public relations. It kind of all fits under my bucket of what I do at the airport.
I love that. So I'm assuming you've had some really great work experience along the way in order to be able to handle all of those different aspects. So give us a little bit of your history, just where you're from, kind of where you went to school, and how you got to where you're at today.
Oh boy. Okay. So I am from Bennett, Nebraska. So just outside of Lincoln, little small town, which now is officially a town. We have over 1,000 people now. So we're now a town. We're no longer a village. We have a mayor and big timing.
Ooh,
and I'm now
elections.
Yes, we have elections, and I'm now part of an economic development committee. It's very exciting.
You needed one more thing to do, you crazy girl.
I know, but you can't say no.
No.
So yes, went to Bennett Elementary growing up. Went to Palmyra High School. I did both my undergrad and graduate degrees at the University of Nebraska. So go Huskers. Spent 6 years there. Got my master's. Did a bunch of internships with local nonprofits like the Alzheimer's Association.
Cool.
I even lived in Kansas City for a summer and did an internship with Muscular Dystrophy Association. So I kind of had some background in the nonprofit world, doing events and things. But when I graduated from college, I worked for Cabela's and did fun events and marketing. I always joke that was my fun job. I got to fly to Sydney and go open up Cabela's stores across the country and do events like teaching little kids how to fish and things like that. So that was my fun job. Then I worked for the Nebraska Community Blood Bank, so kind of went back into the nonprofit world. So very familiar with what they do here in our community, and would help honestly just recruit people to go donate blood, and again all their events. I still am very passionate about that. I have a blood drive that I run every summer in my hometown in Bennett, and so love the blood bank, love what they do. I worked for then Lincoln Electric System, so I was their communications specialist and also helped with events and public relations. So I was on TV quite a bit. I was the one that got yelled at when there was a power outage or how to explain to people what was going on.
You poor thing. Yeah. You're always kind of in the spotlight.
Yeah.
But not in the best, most fun way.
Correct.
Always.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
You learn a lot about crisis communications. You learn a lot about how to handle what I joke about, the keyboard warriors, the people that are always, mad at you for whatever reason. So learned a lot with Lincoln Electric System. I then worked at U.S. Property, and so learned a little bit about property management.
Yeah.
They're a pretty interesting company. They kind of have different, things around the community. And so did some different work for them, got to learn a lot about leasing and just different, businesses and how that all works, and ultimately that helped land me at the Lincoln Airport. So I've been there just over 4 years now. So
wow. And you have gone through a lot of change already at the Lincoln Airport. Do you want to touch on the greatest, most recent development, the whole new terminal?
Yes. So super exciting. When I was hired, they were talking about this new terminal that they were going to do, this big renovation. And so if you've ever flown out of Lincoln prior to the terminal being redone, we joke it was like your grandma's airport. It was nice, but it kind of dingy, and
it didn't give you this glamorous feel.
No. And it was kind of confusing to maneuver, even though it was small. It had split checkpoints and kind of the gross old carpet, and there was carpet on the walls in the bathrooms. It was so weird. And I was what is what happened here? Like, what is going on?
Did 1970 throw up or what?
Pretty much, yeah. It was definitely a like 9/11 airport when it was built. It hadn't virtually been untouched in like 50 years. They just hadn't done a lot to it. Kind of just kicked the can down the road with renovations. And so we knew the time was coming, and luckily the board members had foresight. Like, we need to make some renovations. We need to make some changes. One, we were getting pressure from TSA to combine those checkpoints. And two, I think really the pandemic helped kind of speed that up, because what you started seeing is people wanted to streamline their travel process. They also wanted space in airports. And like, we just didn't really have that kind of openness feeling. You kind of always felt crunched in there. And of course, with the pandemic, everyone's like, I want my space, like, you know. Yeah. And so you really needed to upgrade those facilities to have kind of that modern feel with what passengers are expecting when they travel. And so that's what we were going for with the terminal renovations. So very excited. We did phase 1, which was last June, and we invited the public to come out and see the new terminal. They got to actually go through security, see our new Flyers Club lounge, our new bar and restaurant, new bathrooms, which is a big deal. So fun fact, number one complaint of passengers is bathrooms. So we put a lot of thought into our bathrooms. We really wanted to make sure we were like not just ADA compliant too with our airport, but that we kind of went above and beyond. So we worked with a lot of like local places and also national firms to really make sure too that we were like accommodating all people when they travel. And so, you know, even when you look at like our chairs, like they're different heights and stuff for people that might have mobility issues. We have an adult changing table in our airport in a gender neutral bathroom, which is not common, but as we know, our population is aging, so more people are traveling with their grandparents or their parents or an adult child, and if they need to, you know, use a changing room, a lot of airports don't have that as an option, and so we do. And so we really, I think, want the extra mile with some of those added touches. And then this last May, we opened up our side, more of the administrative side and things like that. So I now get to be in a new office, which is really great, but our team's back together, and we did an open house, and really like the response we've received from the public has been amazing. Like,
well, you still get that small town easiness, but now you feel a little more glamorous. Like, it feels like, you know, you're more worldly traveling.
My favorite thing is flying back and like people that haven't maybe been to Lincoln in a while or haven't been to our airport for a while, like, did I land in the right place? Like, where are we? Oh my gosh, this is so nice. Fun. Like, look at this airport. This is the nicest airport I've ever flown into. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Like, that's just like what you want to hear. Because I think Lincoln deserved that. And really when you're landing, like, that is your first impression for those people, you know? So those visitors coming into your city, that's their first impression of your city is really your airport. So very
and then that drive out of the airport, you know, the first buildings and street signs and everything they're seeing.
Very, very important to have a good first impression. We still wanted that small town kind of feel like you mentioned. So we still have our customer service agents who are there to greet you and smile. And, you know, I always kind of have to tag on that we're the official airport of the Huskers. We have a big sign, you know, when you go down the escalator that welcomes you, free luggage tags, all that just kind of feel good. Like, you're going to know you're in Lincoln. And that was kind of that sense of place we wanted to go for.
That's so cool. I'm excited about it, and I want people to travel out of Lincoln and at least just give it a try, right? Like, when you're booking flights, just take a look. It's usually, you can find a lot of flights that are very similar price to flying out of Omaha. One of my favorite billboards you guys have is the one on the way to Omaha where it says like, you could already be there.
You could already be at your gate by now.
That's awesome. Was that your idea?
One of the many, yes. We do work with a local advertising agency that kind of helped put some of that together, which was fun. I agree. You know, I think one of the things that's difficult is you're not going to please everyone. And just candidly, the Lincoln Airport was really hurt during the pandemic, right? Like, people weren't flying, especially business travelers. And that is a majority of the people who fly out of the Lincoln Airport. I would say probably 75 to 80% of our passengers are flying for business reasons. And so that was a huge negative impact to small regional airports like us, because we didn't really have that what we call leisure. So those fun destinations, talk about Vegas and Orlando and Phoenix, right? Those kind of destinations, and really even like outdoorsy places, things about like Montana, Nevada, that people like to just get out and go. Those really thrived kind of post-pandemic where your business markets were really hurting. And so we didn't have those markets. So we definitely saw our numbers plummet. So we've kind of been digging ourselves out of that hole ever since. And so what I tell people is, as far as United Airlines go, which is currently our only airline, I would argue probably one of the best airlines in the world. I mean, they really are, as far as on time and, things like that, they always are top performers. And, sometimes I get the negative feedback, my flight's always delayed, or, I missed this or I missed that. I can promise you, I fly all the time, like once a month. I fly to every airport in the country, I promise you. And it happens everywhere. And it doesn't matter what airline, it happens. So that's kind of just something I want to put out there. But two, United with getting us to Chicago and Denver, two of the biggest hubs in the country. Right. And really from there, I think it's like 240 destinations they can get you to. Right. So, I mean, if you are somebody that's like, I don't mind connecting, it can get you to anywhere you need to go to in the country, which has been, one of the big positives. Ideally, I would love to get another airline into Lincoln. And so that was part of the strategy with moving me more into like that air service development role, having somebody on staff focus on that. And so that's kind of what I've been working on the last few months. So we hired a consultant that knows the industry to help me out. I've been going to conferences where you literally sit across the table from an airline, and it's kind of like speed dating. So you have like 20 minutes and you have to pitch to an airline why they should come to Lincoln. Right. And so I have to
I'm assuming the new convention center would be something that you can use, like another tool in your pocket to promote Lincoln. So we need to get that convention center done.
That would be great. Anytime when we talk to airlines, so here are the things that they look at. They look at obviously our population. They look at how often people travel. What are your current flight loads, or load factors? So how many people are on your current flights? And I will say we are usually like low to mid 90s, which is like perfect. That's exactly what you want to see. So when you get on a plane, you only want to see a few empty seats. You do not want to see more than that. And also if you see a completely filled airplane, then that means a good portion of those people are having to go to other airports because you just don't have any seats. So that's good. Like, we want to show those numbers to another airline to say, look, like, this is something that you could be doing too. They want to know too, like, if they come into your community, like, what's happening in Lincoln? Like, why Lincoln? What business is there traveling? Who's flying into Lincoln? Tell me about these conventions. Tell me about the university. Is there a big company coming that employs a lot of people and maybe has offices in other states that they need to travel to? Those are the things that they can't just Google and pull a report. Right. That's the stuff that, like, when I'm talking to an airline, I'm like, hey, did you know
this is coming, or you get all that background economic development.
Big events are huge. They love to hear that. They love to hear anytime businesses are coming into the community. What's the university up to? Where are your students from the university? Like, where are they coming from? Those are all things that, like, I talk to airlines about.
Well, it sounds like you've gotten pretty well versed in it already. So I would put money on this that we're going to get another airline. I don't know who, but if anyone can do it, I think you can.
Thank you. I hope so. Yeah. I want that, for the community. We need it. We need it for competition. Competition's healthy. Yeah. But I also just selfishly want that because I want us to be able to have more destinations,
more places,
and more people in Lincoln and the surrounding communities to enjoy our beautiful airport. So yeah.
Well, something that I didn't know before today, but it sounds like you, as part of the airport, also have a lot of business sectors, different places where you have tenants. You want to talk on that a little bit? Sure. I had asked if you guys were hiring or anything, and you said, well, we have some people that occupy space on the airport's property, and they might be hiring. Yeah. So that might be something that the viewers don't know about.
Sure. So one of the interesting kind of tidbits about the Lincoln Airport is we are actually one of the largest airports in the country. and not by how many flights we have, but just by the land we occupy. And so when you think about all what we kind of oversee, it's about 5,000 acres. It's a big chunk of land that
That's
we
huge.
are responsible for.
Yeah.
And so if you take commercial aviation out of it, we also have general aviation. We have military, a big military presence with the National Guard out there. And then we're also a backup to Offutt Air Force Base. And then we have our industrial park. And so our industrial park is really that non-aeronautical revenue. So that's really like, think about the pandemic, right? When numbers are low and people aren't flying, how do you generate money to survive? It's our industrial park. And so these are industrial tenants that come and lease buildings from us. Some of these buildings are literally from like the 1960s when the Air Force was here. Some of these buildings are new. Maybe either we built it or they built it, but everybody leases those buildings from us. And so we have tenants from, T-hangar tenants, so people that have maybe a private airplane and just are leasing a little hangar, to large tenants like Duncan Aviation who are on the airfield, to people who are off the airfield like Timpty. We talked about that. Timpty Trailers is from David City. They just built this beautiful like 200,000 square foot building out at our airport. They will start manufacturing and distributing trailers. And so, we have like Weathercraft out there. We have the State Crime Lab. We have Midwest Roadside and Safety, who they literally crash cars into guardrails and like study that and use that data to make highways and bridges safer for all of us. So we have tenants like, Community Crops, for instance, they lease a couple acres from us, and they allow some of the people that they serve to plant their maybe native vegetables and basically farm that, and then they sell those vegetables at the farmers markets. And so, you name it, we have like little soccer clubs out there that just lease ground to practice on, all the way to very, very large tenants out at the airport.
Yeah, that was just so interesting to find that out, and it's kind of reassuring to me that the Lincoln Airport will be able to sustain itself. Yeah. That we will always have an airport and a way to bring people to our city, and that's really cool. So
yeah, I think it's interesting. I know this as a business owner. It's kind of like one of those things, you have to diversify your portfolio, right? Like you can't just bank on the National Guard or just on like maybe Duncan Aviation, who's amazing, or just your commercial aviation. You kind of need to have revenue coming in from all these different pieces. And so the industrial park has been a huge not only just added bonus for what we do, but also really a big added bonus for the community, because those are jobs coming into our community, right? Yeah. So like Timpty investing in the airport and building a new building is going to bring in several hundred really well-paying jobs to our community. Yeah. And even though they don't have to pay property taxes because it's on airport property, those are still, again, people moving to our community, going to our schools, investing in everything else. And so we're putting a big emphasis on making sure our industrial park is kind of updated and upgraded so we can continue to hopefully encourage more businesses to come to Lincoln, because we have land, so we might as well utilize it.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
One other thing I want to touch on really quick, you guys are so great about hosting fun events out at the airport. Why don't you, I think that you have a fun one coming up, don't you, for Christmas?
Yes. So one of our big initiatives was just to be part of the community, right? We're a community airport. And so we do free outdoor movies during the summer. So hopefully people know about that. We do those once a month. But what do you do when it's cold outside? We're not going to have a movie. We just ended with Hocus Pocus with about 1,500 people. It was pretty awesome. But in December, on December 13th, we're going to do Santa Bash. And this will be our third one. My boss is a big Christmas person. And he was like, before the pandemic, we used to have Santa here. And then, we went through this terminal renovation, so I couldn't really have people come to the terminal because we didn't have a terminal and all this stuff, so we used a hangar. Anyways, now that our terminal's done, we're going to invite people back. So if you, have kiddos and family and you want to come out on the 13th, you're going to be able to see Santa, make ornaments. We'll have some live, performances with local dance teams. I think we even have, a photo booth and hot chocolate bars. So I'm an event person.
I was just going to say, Rachel's events
I am an event person
amazing.
At heart, so
that'll be a great
unfortunately
event.
try to go all out.
And it's always free of charge. You might have already said that, but
always free. Always free.
Yeah, you guys are always giving back to the community, and I mean, we are lucky to have you, and thank you for everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was so fun.
Yes, I love it. So thanks for everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you in a few weeks.